Corrections. I'm glad I found you. Sorry for my disheveled appearance, but I haven't slept well. When I saw you, I knew I had to talk to you to tell you what happened. Call it ego or hubris, but it's really a burning desire for the truth to be known before it's too late for me, for you, for all of us. I'm a fan of your work on the site. Yes, that one. I'm a writer myself, not scoping a story. Yes, that site too. Really listen. I know a good Italian place with great pasta. I'll treat you if you'll just hear my tale. It begins with a rather mediocre story, but sometimes within them there are kernels of truth, like clots in blood. Don't try to look it up on your iPhone. The story was deleted. I'm not sure how it got accepted, considering the strict policy employed by the site, but it was purged by the wiki during one of their bad story purges. Maybe with that new site for really bad ones, it'll be brought back. Don't. Please. Not that I blame them, and no, it wasn't my story. Otherwise, it wouldn't be wrong. I've seen too much, not at all. The story was as bloated as a 3-day-old corpse, riddled with plot holes, and plagued by grammar so bad one expected a phone to eventually show up. Like most bad horror, and some good, admittedly, it was less about its protagonists and more about its monster and mythology. The title reflects that, the bright smiling friend in the dark woods. Random words were capitalized, and there were several misspellings, which again brings into question why this drivel was published. But I digress. I won't tell all the details of the story. The monster matters most, as far as truth and lies go. A depressed, drug-using, told, not shown, man who lived in a cottage by the dark woods was lured one night by a figure of an old friend, long dead, into the woods. The story mixes exposition and plot to create a sort of mutagenic, toxic sludge. Considering that its literary conceit is that the writer is recounting it soon afterward and dies midword, it makes no sense, given the level of detail they toss in like a bag of eyeballs to starving ravens. The true hero of the story is a monster that lives in the woods, a place where, somehow, lots of people go for no good reason. A daft place to live, a daft place to go. Me? I can't imagine either going to or living in the woods, or even the country. I love the city, the sight of concrete, the smell of florid humanity, the viscera of human interaction, the taste even of hot dogs from the vendor. Crap, yes, but it has its own familiarity. Speaking of that, we're here. Would you like to request the table? I'll pay. Well, this is a nice seat. I like booths. So the idiot went in. He sees the beast, is menaced, and manages to escape, despite the power and nature of the smiling friend, making such escape rather unlikely. Rather than do the sensible thing and exit stage left, he goes straight home to the cottage, which is right by the damn woods. He then types up the account, without looking up any of the facts, apparently, and yet knowing so much. He dies, with a bunch of dots interrupting another misspelled sentence. I hate the damn story, but, well, I have knowledge that there's some truth to this smiling friend's story, at least as far as the appearance goes. Though, considering the story I have to tell, he doesn't live in the woods, that's for sure. One moment. I would like a salad to start, then some angel hair pasta with chicken, please. Water, and whatever my friend here will have. In the story, he is described as an ancient monster, of likely high intelligence or at least cunning, though that's described as sloppily as the rest. It knows everything and is a shape-shifting face stealer, capable of imitating the dead and the living without a known true form, but with a form it uses on those it kills, usually. It's also capable of warping time and space, luring minds to a happy death, and possessing great speed and strength. Much of that is true, or at least founded in truth, though most of the weaknesses described are, from what I've seen, lies. The least worthless parts of the story, though still wrong in some places and badly spelled, are the descriptions of the monster and the fact that they preserve at least some mystery in how it kills. Having seen the being myself, seen its murders not 3 hours ago, I can say it is more impressive and terrifying than these words can express. But well, the description has merit, so why not? I'll summarize it. Already done. You inhaled it, didn't you? Do you want dessert? I might get some dessert. If you know, well, all right. Need to use the bathroom? Got it, take your time. I'll just keep eating. Waiter? 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 Yes, thank you. What's good here? Oh, Then I'll have the blueberry cheesecake. That was disappointing. Welcome back. I think the reason their story is so detailed is that they must have met someone who actually encountered it, or at least saw it from a distance. Compared to the string of 5-word sentences, the whole thing seemed creepily detailed, harsh, almost not quite well written. The monster had sharp, triangular feet, like spades, the color of clay, and no toes at all. The 3 tripod legs were long and thick, black-brown, rotting, covered in muscle, bubbles, and pustules of shifting pus or fat, which pulsated in time to, I don't know, its heartbeat, perhaps. The 3rd leg was more spindly than the first 2, and if the smiling friend had a gender, one couldn't tell. Its torso was equally ripped and just as putrid, but covered in sweat, which, according to the authors, had the stench of garbage rolling off it. Now, I must say, I will share the details soon enough, one of the lucky few to have smelled it and lived. I must protest that it actually smells like honey and rosewater. This scent is given off in all its forms, even the human, and is capable, for a time. It does wear off, I know from personal experience, of turning its victims into beings as docile and trusting as a pithed cow. Where its stomach should have been, there was a hole lined with some sort of strange, pulsating gobs of flesh, like the gums of a tooth. These gobs matched in color the pus bags that also covered the torso, and they were black. And it had teeth, hundreds of them, that seemed to grow from the end of long tentacles, each tooth as white as if brushed daily. Its arms, 2 of them, were curved, without a single straight line, and covered in corded muscle, colored a mottled gray and green, except for the ever-present black lumps. Where the hands should have been, each arm ended in 11 white tendrils of worm-like flesh, each terminating in what seemed like a dagger-sharp bone. Or perhaps it was actually metal. I personally thought it was metal. The writer, from whatever distant echoes of true stories they once heard that inspired this guessed bone. But I never had the inclination to find out. The friend's face was a flat-faced vertical diamond, as black as pitch and as bumpy and sticky as tar. A huge, white smile, far too wide for comfort and too toothy, covered the bottom half of the face, making almost a rounded triangle that contrasted sharply against the blackness. Where its nose might have been, there were only 2 holes of different shapes, and high on its forehead, it had no hair, was a pair of eyes. Well, the story just guesses at the eye color, but I know it. It's a vibrant, lovely, haunting green, like the shade of a sick man who won't ever get better, or grass that has tasted blood. At twice the height of a human, one has to look up into those eyes, or down at those sharp feet. Neither is a particularly good view. Now, would you like to go home with me to finish our talk? Good. Ice cream on the way. That cheesecake was subpar. That lying waiter. That didn't qualify as a dessert at all. Welcome to my home. I know, it felt like just a second ago we were in the restaurant. Well, you spaced out a bit. You have some ice cream on your chin. There, that's better. Now, about that incident. It happened, about a minute from now. Did you ever wonder why you so readily went with a homeless-looking bum? Lost minutes. Hours in the blink of an eye. Traveled miles and didn't even know it? Why you were even willing to come with me? Time is simple, and so is distance. I'm sure you've guessed it by now, but if not, some idiots call me the smiling friend. And you, my good friend, are here for dessert. But I did promise you a story, and I'm a civilized, city-dwelling monster, so I keep my word. Forests, bah. How about the story of the editor who helped spread the truth of the nature of his friend, posted the correction to those misspelled lies from someone who is now a corpse, before that editor's tragic and mysterious disappearance? Yes, well, it begins when I say to you, I'm glad I found you.